We're back on the SportsMax Zone, the 2021 US Open tennis tournament underway. The opening day of action saw two-time and 2020 defending champion Naomi Osaka breezing past the 87th ranked Marie Boskova of the Czech Republic 6-4, 6-1. It was Osaka's first Grand Slam victory since her withdrawal from the French Open due to mental health issues and her conflict with the organizers over doing press conferences. Now, speaking after her dominant win, Osaka said she hopes to believe more in herself. Here's what she said. Hearing a little kid telling me that I'm their favorite player or I'm a role model, instinctively, the first thought in my mind is like, why? I feel like I have to sort of embrace more the honor that they're telling me that, and I should believe more in myself. I feel like if you don't believe in yourself, then other people won't believe in yourself. So Naomi Osaka with a victory, starting off her US Open title defense. And certainly the narrative in those comments there does give a little impression that she is feeling a little bit more free in expressing herself.
Definitely, and I'm very happy for her. This is her third win in the past 3 months. So, it would be a sigh of relief for her, Lance, especially because of a couple of months and the couple of incidents that she has gone through. Also, I think the addition of the fans would have helped her because, just playing in a court that, of course, you're loved and she's very familiar with the surface. I think that also boosted her confidence. And then she said as well, the children, because in the press conference, she was talking about how, she felt so comforted seeing the young ones looking up and, looking at her and cheering her on. So I'm happy to see her in good spirits. And I really, for her sake, I hope that it continues.
Yeah, and you have to remember too that her first US Open title success would be indelibly written in her mind because of the emotional trauma she had gone through on that afternoon when Serena Williams had the meltdown with the umpiring conflict and so on. So it was a victorious afternoon for her that she couldn't get to celebrate in real terms because there was so much of a focus on Serena Williams' behavior that almost took the glory away from her and took the satisfaction of the moment of winning her first Grand Slam.
Yeah, and Lance, you say almost. I think it did because when you looked at the headlines the same day and we're set the next morning, everything was about Serena, and it's as if, nobody really spoke much about Naomi Osaka. Even us, when we spoke about the narrative here on the SportsMax Zone, we recognized that Naomi had won, but I mean the fact that Serena had behaved in such a manner, knowing who Serena is,
yes.
her achievements, the discussion without us even knowing, and I'm saying us as journalists on the whole, without even recognizing what they were doing, that was the story.
Yeah, and to be honest, I still remember like it was yesterday looking at Naomi in the post-match wasn't the press conference, it was a post-match interviews on court, and how uncomfortable she was. She almost didn't know what to say because she was obviously happy that she would have won, but the moment was such a moment of conflict for her that she couldn't celebrate. She was at a loss at what she should actually say because she had grown up admiring Serena for so many years, inspired by Serena, and to be in that moment where Serena lost her temper and crashed to a defeat, it almost appeared on that afternoon that Osaka was sorry that she won.
Yeah, it's unsettling. It is unsettling. It's like your hero lands, and then you are the reason that the person is having the worst day of their life.
Yeah, it was.
That doesn't sit well, and now that even more so, we know how Naomi Osaka is, and what she feels. She's been saying it. We can imagine what she went through that day.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I think it still affects her up till today.
Yeah, well, she has said it. She has said that she still goes through moments of depression, lingering from that experience on that U.S. Open triumphant afternoon in New York. Well, tennis has over the decades served up moments of dispute and conflict between players, and here's the latest one at the U.S. Open as well. 2012 men's champion Andy Murray says he has lost respect for the world number 3 Stefanos Tsitsipas following their first round match. Tsitsipas took multiple extended breaks at crucial times during the 5-set thriller and eventually took the contest 2-6, 7-6, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 after more than 4.5 hours. Now, speaking after his defeat, this is what the Brit had to say. It's just disappointing because I feel it influenced the outcome of the match. I'm not saying I necessarily win that match for sure, but it had influence on what was happening after those breaks. I rate him a lot. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's great for the game, but I have zero time for that stuff at all, and I lost respect for him. Now, when players lose in a one-on-one kind of sporting combat game like tennis, there's a lot of emotion and a lot of mind games that go into matches like these. And I don't think Tsitsipas did anything that was illegal, but what Andy Murray is suggesting that he used gamesmanship and coming out on the losing end of a contest like that, he would have to feel disappointed. And remember that Andy Murray has gone through the past couple of years on the brink of retirement because of his injury and surgery and so on. There were many people who felt that Andy Murray wouldn't be playing Grand Slam tennis at the moment. And I think because he played so well, because he really did, he is disappointed in the way that he lost.
Lance, knowing the kind of person that you are, where do you stand when it comes to using gamesmanship and sportsmanship? Because when I think about this incident, and today I was having a deep conversation actually with one of our producers, Ramon, and he was reminding me about the 1897 situation with Courtney Walsh, and then he was quoting about how we lost out on a chance to be a part of the World Cup because of Courtney Walsh displaying sportsmanship. And then he spoke about Kimo Paul again, doing what he had to do. He displayed gamesmanship in a particular match, 2007, and they won. They actually won. West Indies won. So I would love to know, Lance, where you stand on this, because basically you're not breaking the rules, is what's happening here. You're doing what you have to do to get your team over the line. That's how they see it.
Yeah.
And I would want to know where you stand.
I'm not a fan of gamesmanship. I'm not a fan of gamesmanship. I know that it happens, and people are very centered on winning. That's what sport is about.
And they're
winning.
using tactics.
Yeah, but some of it, well, I think the lines are thin because there are times to me it crosses the line. One of the things I continue to talk about, because I find it really, really, really annoying, is when footballers try to trick referees into making decisions that favor their teams and getting players red cards and so on. A player is struck in the stomach and he holds onto his face and behaves as if he was just struck in his face. I don't like that. I think those things spoil the game. Now, obviously, what Tsitsipas did in the game against Andy Murray, I would not say that ranks as highly as a distasteful act as the one I just mentioned with football. But I think sport can do without those things, to be honest. I know that it happens and there are no rules governing it not happening. So maybe that's where it is. Because with the Mankad ruling, there are people who feel they should just put it in the rule and not leave it to the discretion of a bowler to decide whether you want to warn the batsman or not, whether he's, creeping out of his crease.
Yeah.
There are people who feel that the rules should just be instituted, that you don't do that. And if someone decides to run you out because you're creeping over to cheat the system, that there wouldn't be any issue of spirit of fair play and so on.
Well, that's a discussion now coming out of this incident. People are saying maybe they should put it in the rule, because basically what Tsitsipas did was he had 2 bathroom breaks, which was very long, and then a medical timeout, right? So my thing, when I thought about it, I said, okay, but you can't follow a player into the washroom. There are no cameras in the washroom. So who am I to say that maybe he was just having one of those days where he needed to go to the...
Yeah.
So there's really a thin line.
I know, which is why I said, Mariah, that I wouldn't put that in the same breath as I described a while ago with the football situation.
But what do we do with this?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know. Only Tsitsipas would know exactly why he did that and, what he gained out of it. Because there are times...
He won. He gained a win.
No, what I mean is, if it was a situation where he felt he needed to take the momentum away from Murray, because sometimes that's what the players do. If they're in a moment where your opponent is getting the better of you and you want to take the momentum away from your opponent getting stronger, then you do that. I know he ended up winning, and Murray is suggesting that even if Murray had won, he would have felt, just as annoyed by Tsitsipas's action. I don't know if he would be. He can say that now because he would have
made fun. I would have made fun because I would have been like, you took 2 extended bathroom breaks.
Yes.
Right. You had to call for a medical timeout.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even win.
Yeah. But to answer the question directly, I don't like gamesmanship. I just don't. I think sport can do without it.
Not even if it benefits you, your team?
No, I don't like
it. All right.
It.
Lance is a true gentleman. We go to break. We'll be back.